Hey all of you, hope you guys are great. So in the last video we have successfully completed the entire backend part of a smart contract. So we have written the smart contract, test the smart contract, and even we have deployed the smart contract to the Mumbai test network. Right from this video we're going to work on our client side, and we're going to write the entire context code, and we're going to do the setups. Okay, so right from this video things are getting very interesting because we're going to connect our front end and we're going to make some live transaction with the contract we have built in the last video. And I will simply open this particular folder. Right now I don't have anything into this client. Let's open up your terminal and let's get into that. So we'll type cd client, and this will take us into the folder. And now we have to initialize Next.js because that's what we're going to utilize it in this particular project. And I want you to use Next.js. Don't use TypeScript or any other framework. Use Next.js because I can see that a lot of you comes with an error and you say that your code is not working because you are using TypeScript, and there is a difference in TypeScript and Next.js when it's come to defining the variables. Okay, so I have seen you guys have made a lot of mistakes in the NFT marketplace project. So if you haven't built that, make sure to build that. So simply type npm create next app and give this dot. So it will create the entire folder and file structure in the same folder, the client folder. That's why we are giving this dot. Okay, now hit enter, and this will take a little bit time, but first we have to do the configuration. So we don't want to use TypeScript, we don't want to use ESLint, and hit enter. So this is going to create the entire folder and file structure, our next app. So just wait, let it be complete. And here you can see finally we have initialized the project, the next project, and we have zero vulnerability. Simply close this one and come here, open the folder. Inside that you will find the entire folder and file structure. We have this git folder. Inside that you will find all the configuration, all the hooks. Then we have the node modules, then we have the packages and file, and we have to clean some of the files. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to delete this API folder because we are not making any API request. We have to delete this document, and we have to open this one, and we have to clear all of this pre-built, pre-written code. Select all and remove the type RAFCE. And if you don't know how I'm getting this RAFCE, because I have installed an extension called React Snippet. Okay, so make sure to install that, and I have explained that extensively in my other videos in the NFT marketplace, so make sure to watch that as well. So this looks pretty good. You can see right now we have this one. Close this one, come back in the public. This is the style folder. Inside that we have to delete this one, and we have to remove all the CSS. So that's the general setups we have done. This is the Next.js packages and file, and in this we're going to install couple of packages. ThirdWeb would fetch all the information. So that looks pretty good to me, and close this one. Now first we have to get into the client folder. Actually we are in the client folder. Now we have type npm run dev, and this will start our application on localhost 3000, and you can see every single thing is working fine. So we have no issues right now. Come back to the code editor, and now what we're gonna do is simply stop the application from running, and we have to install a couple of packages. We need ThirdWeb's packages so we can interact. We need SDK, all of the things we need. So let's install one by one. So simply come up here. So this is the dev dependency we have, and this is the script we have. So what I will do, I'll come here and I will simply type, let's say npm I ethers, because we have to convert our pricing, and that's why we need to install this, because we have to convert the pricing into way. So that's what we need, and we want to use this particular version, and I would recommend you to use this particular version because right now the moment I'm recording and the project I have built, it's more stable with this package. So just wait, it will take a little bit time, and finally we have ether.js installed successfully. Clear the terminal, and now we have to install the other package. So simply type npm I, and we have to type ThirdWeb dev / react, and we have to pick the version. So make sure to pick the exact version which I'm using. So give this one and 3. So this is the version we need in the project, and this will take a little bit time. You can see right now it's happened very quickly because I simply edited it. Okay, so it will take time. In your case it will take 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, now we have installed successfully ThirdDev React. This is the version, and I want you to use the same version, 3.11.11. Now we have to use another one, the SDK one, ThirdWeb /dev SDK, and we need this particular version 3. hit enter, and this will happen very quickly. So we have the two packages we need. You can see this is the two packages and the other one, so it looks pretty fine to me. Now what we can do is simply type npm run dev to check everything's working fine, and still things are looking pretty good. No error we have in the code. Come back in the code editor and bring this down. Now we are done with this entire packages. If we think that we need more, we can definitely come back and we can check. So that looks pretty fine to me. Come here, open this one and go to the pages. Inside the pages we have to do the setups. So right now you can see that we have used the normal function. We're gonna change this function. So first thing, we have to import couple of things. So let's come up here. We have to import the ThirdWeb. So let's change this one to a arrow function. Change this to arrow functions. Bring this down. Instant return. Cut this one and simply paste here. Okay, it's went back normally. Now what we can do is let's be export default app. So this will be good. And now we have to do the imports of our packages. So we have to import the chain ID, because ThirdWebs give you so much power to you as a developer. You don't need to build all the manual configuration. It has packages, it has function which can allow you to connect with any particular chain, any particular blockchains, and it contain this chain ID variables contain all the chain IDs and their value, and we need this one. So we need chain ID and we need the ThirdWeb provider, and this is coming from the ThirdWeb React. So it's coming from here. So we got the chain ID and ThirdWeb provider, and we need more. We need to configure our state, but we'll do that later because right now we haven't built that. So let's come here. We have to wrap our entire application with this so we can easily able to have it. So we'll say ThirdWeb provider, and we have to simply cut this one and paste inside this. Now we have to configure our chain ID, and that's what we're going to do in the ThirdWeb provider. So simply type active chain. It has a lot of variables, so make sure to check in the active one, because right now we are dealing with the Polygon test network and it's active. So that's the configuration we'll do, active chain, and we'll take this chain ID, and it is an object, and it will give you all the chains data. So let me take the Mumbai and let me show you that what you will get in this chain ID variable. So now that looks pretty good. We have done with the setups. Now let me console log out the chain ID and let me show you what data we have into that. So come up here, reload the browser. So maybe you will get this error because we haven't connected with the MetaMask. That's why I'm getting it, but don't need to worry about that. Reload the browser, inspect element, and inspect element. Go to the consoles, and here you will find an object, and this object contain all the chain ID. So you will have Mumbai, Gorilla, Optimum, Binance Change, Test, Polygon, all of the network you will find here, and the chain ID which you can use to configure your application. And we are using Mumbai. You can see 8001 the chain ID we have, and that looks pretty good. So we have successfully configured our chain ID in our app.js. Now close this one, come here, and here close this one, and we have to come here. We're going to click on this client, and we're going to create a folder. We call it context, and in this we're going to manage the entire context of our application. Let's call it index.js, and in that we're going to write all the code. So let me do this RFCE, and let me import couple of things from React. So we'll need use effect, and we need use state and useContext, and we need createContext. So these are the things we are taking from React. Let me remove this code. So we have all of this: use effect, use context, and create context. Now we have to import the other packages. So we need to import let's come here, and we have to import the React, and in this we're going to import all the function we need, and all of these methods we're getting from the ThirdWeb, and it's super power. You don't need to write custom code for having the functionality like connecting wallet, fetching the balance, disconnecting wallet, and interacting with the contract. Okay, it's so powerful. So just follow, and you have to be very focused, and you have to understand what are the things we are doing here. So the very first thing we're going to import is use address. So this will give you the address of the user who is connected with the application. Then we're going to use the use contract we'll use MetaMask, we'll use contract write, and we have multiple variable. We can use contract write, use contract read, use contract event. So we're going to import all of this read, and we'll have this use contract event. And I'm getting this errors, no problem. Let's come down. We have to import the ethers package, and that's coming from the ether, and here we have to provide this from. So we have imported all these functions which we need in our application. So we have this use address, use contract, use MetaMask, use contract write, use contract read, use contract event, and these are the important functions we're going to use over and over again to interact with our contract for reading, writing, and event. Okay, that's a pretty simple thing, and I'm not coming up with this because there is everything available in the docs, and from there I'm getting all of this functions. Looks pretty fine. We have done all the imports. That's pretty amazing. Hope you guys have understood. Come here, and now what we have to do is we have to build something. So we'll take the variable, we'll say state context, and it's coming from createContext. So this is the state context we have. Now we have to export that. So we'll say export const state context provider, and we have to pass the children. That's a normal way what we have done in the other projects. That's the same thing we are doing for building our context, and that's the things are ready. Now we have to simply come up here, and here we're going to take a couple of variables. So first thing, we need the contract, and in this we're going to use this use contract, and inside this we have to pass the address of the contract. So I hope you guys haven't forgot, in the last video we have deployed our contract and I saved in my browser, and I'm going to simply get the contract address. Okay, now I'll come up here. I'm going to take another variable which is called address, and this coming from this hook. So this hooks we get from the ThirdWeb use address. Now we're going to take the connect, and this will come from connect, this will come from use MetaMask. So they have bunch of methods, like if you want to connect to a specific wallet, like we have other wallets available. So if you want to go with that, you can definitely import their function. So that looks fine for connect wallet. Now we can come up here, we're going to simply return, and we have to build our context.provider, close that one, and inside that we have to pass the children. So let's come up here. Here we're going to pass the children, and here we're going to send all the values. This is the exact logic we have followed. So we have to send the address, we have to send the connect, and I want to send one more variable. So let's send the contract as well, because when any data is getting changed, we have to call our contract functions to fetch the information. That's why we are exporting the contract as well. It will make sense, just follow along with me. Now you can see the entire state management is looking fine. Now here we can come and we have to export our context. So we'll say const use state context, and we're going to use this one arrow function. We can say use context, and that we have to pass the context. So things looks pretty fine. So we are done with this entire setups. That's all looking absolutely incredible. Now let's take our variable to check things are working fine. So let's call this one real state, and in that we're going to simply type normal real state dap, and that's what we're going to simply pass here, and that looks pretty fine. So we are done with all the setups which you need to do into the index.js file for the context management. Now we'll come up here, go to the pages, go to the API, and here we have to configure our context so we can have the data in our every single component. So first thing, we have to import our context, and that's coming from the, let's come up here, what name we have given. So we have called context provider, will simply coming, and it's coming from dash context, and that looks pretty fine. And now we have to wrap our application. So come up here, take this inside it, and we have to simply wrap the application. Cut this portion and paste here. So in this way, the entire data which we will pass in our context will be available to us in our entire application. That looks pretty fine. Close this one, and now come back to the index and let's test this out, that whether our context is working or not. So first thing, we have to import couple of things from React. We need use state and we need use effect. These are the two hooks we need. We'll come down here, we're going to import the context. So we'll say we have to import the ether, because we have to convert the pricing into ways so we can make the transaction. So we have the ether. Now we'll come here, we'll do the internal import, and under internal import we're going to import our, let's say, context. So we'll say dash context, and inside that we have to get the function. So we'll come here, come back into the context, and this is the one we have to call. Simply call this one, copy this one, and that's what we have to call here. So that looks pretty fine to me. Now come up here, we're going to take this variable, and from here we're going to receive all of the data: address, connect, contract. We'll take the, what is the other value we have? We have this one called real state. That's what we're going to receive, and these all coming from our data. So we'll say use state context, and this will give us the data. Now simply take this one and paste here, pass it here, and this will work absolutely fine. So open up your terminal, try to reload, start the application and reload the browser, and you can see, okay, that's something wrong we have in this. So our data is not displaying and things looking fine. So here I'm into my context file, index.js context file, and I can see the problem. Here we have the problem because I have provided this insert bracket, so I have to simply remove that one and give this normal and object type of. If you save it, this will fix the issue. Reload the browser and you can see we have the data, real estate tab. So things are looking pretty fine. Things are looking pretty fine to me. So our entire state management, entire setup is absolutely working fine, and now we can start writing the bigger functions. So I hope you are on the same page where I am right now. Whatever we have done so far, everything is looking fine. And here we have the use contract. So we have to get our contract. So come here, contract address, open a new tab and go to the, I told you in the last video that you have to save the one. Simply click on this and I will open the same contract which I have deployed to the ThirdWeb, and this is the address I have of the contract. So right now we haven't made any transactions, so I will simply click on this and I will copy the address of the contract, and I'm going to simply pass it here, so you can see when I will do this, I will have the entire contract into this particular variable, and I can simply able to make calls on that. So what I will do, I'll simply come here and I will do the console log to show you that we have the contract, and in that we're going to pass the contract. So come up here, save it, and inspect element, go to the console and reload the browser, and this will take some time. Okay, you can see first it's getting undefined, but it will come the contract address. You can see this is the entire contract we got. Inside that we have all of the ABI contract wrapper, and that we'll have this event. You can see we have the functions, all properties, all of the function we have here. Means our setup is absolutely working fine. Whatever we have done so far, everything's looking fine. Connect wallets, everything's working fine. So that looks pretty fine to me. We have amazing setups, and simply come up here, go to the index and simply come up here, remove this one, take a h1 tag, and in that we have to say real state. We'll come down here, we're going to take a button, and let me show you that how we can add the current wallet. So we can say on click, and we're going to simply call the function we have for connecting wallet, and this will save a lot of your life, this will save your life. I hope you guys have watched my previous project in that we have built custom function for connecting with the wallet, but using ThirdWeb you can simply call this function and you will have the entire functionality. Let's call the function and we're going to say connect, save it, and you can see here we have the button. Simply reload the browser and click on this. Right now we are undefined, and here we got the contract. Now click on this connect and it's going to open the MetaMask. You can see it's absolutely powerful. So here it's taking a little bit time. Just let's give the time. Let me close this one. Why it's taking so much time? Let me switch the network to the Mumbai. Let me click on the Mumbai. Okay, finally it took. Let me pass my credential, unlock, and here you can see we are successfully connected with this application. And if you really want to see that whether we are connected or not, you can see we are connected. And now you will have the address of the user. So we have this user variable, we have the address. Let me paste the address. So we already have this variable called address, and that will have the address of the user. So if I refresh, you can see this is the address of the user who is connected, and that will automatically change. So if anybody changes their wallet address, it's going to change the address as well. So if I come here, go to the account one, you can see the address is changed. So you don't need to write a custom function which can look up the changes in the address. You can have that functionality. So that looks pretty fine. Hope this entire thing makes sense to all of you guys, how we have done the setups, because this is what we're going to do a lot. And that's the only thing I want to talk about in this video. If you still have any confusion, any doubt, do let me know in the comment section. And from the next video, we're going to start working on the functionality of our application. So I don't want to make videos too big, because many of you have said that the videos are too big. It's better to focus on one functionality at a time, so you can easily able to understand in deeper level. So let's move to the next video where we're going to build the important function for our contract.